Hello everyone, my greetings to one and all. This is the third session on indifference curve analysis. In the previous session, you have learned about budget line. I am Poonam Vohra from Microeconomics Learning Center. This session focuses on the reasons for having a shift in the budget line. So let us analyze the reasons for which budget line may shift towards its left or right or may swivel. Let's begin. Now let us understand the reasons for shift in the budget line and its implication. The budget line is constructed on the basis of consumer's income, price of commodity X and price of commodity Y. If there is change in any of these determinants, the budget line also changes. We have understood that budget line is downward sloping with the given consumer's income and price of the two goods. There may be a possibility that consumer's income rises, but prices of both the goods remain constant, or there may be constant income of the consumer but fall in the prices of both the goods. In either of the situations, there would be rise in the ability to pay of the consumer and he can afford to buy more of both goods. Or there could be fall in the income of the consumer with constant prices of both the goods, or income of the consumer remains constant but prices of both the goods rise. So in either of these cases, there will be then fall in the ability to pay. Both the situations will have some impact. Let's continue further to understand. Budget line TM shows that consumer can purchase OM quantity of good X and OT quantity of good Y when there is no change in income or prices. Now suppose income of the consumer falls but prices of both goods remain same, or prices of both the goods rises but income remains same. In either of the two cases, there would be less of both the goods purchased. The purchase of good X gets reduced by mg and that of good Y by th, implying that the budget line shifts towards its left. But if there is a rise in the consumer's income and prices of both goods remain constant, or income of the consumer remains same and prices of both the goods fall, in these cases there would be an increase in the purchase of both the goods, implying that the budget line will shift towards its right. Increase in good X is from M to N and increase in purchase of good Y is from T to R. Now assess yourself and answer this question on the basis of the information as provided. The information is that 63% of the Indians say that their income has suffered due to COVID pandemic, as per the Mood of the Nation survey. The question to you is, what will be the impact of this situation on the budget line of people in general? You are required to explain the reason and show it diagrammatically. Please check your answer. Due to pandemic, if the incomes have reduced, obviously the budget line will shift towards its left, implying that people are now in a position to buy less of both the goods. So one can show it diagrammatically by having a leftward shift of the budget line. Now let us assume that income of the consumer remains unchanged, but price of both the goods changes. The change can either be rise in the price of good X or in the price of good Y, or fall in the price of good X or in the price of good Y. Now when there is rise in the price of good X, that means now initial budget line is given by FR, implying OR of good X and OF of good Y is being purchased. With rise in the price of good X, less of good X will be purchased, but quantity of good Y purchased remains the same, and hence there will be a swivel of the budget line towards its left, and decline in quantity purchased of X is from OR to OJ. And if there is rise in the price of good Y, less of good Y will be purchased. The initial budget line is shown by MS, buying OS quantity of good X and OM quantity of good Y. Now with rise in the price of good Y, less of good Y will be purchased. So there would be a swivel of budget line towards its left only in the case of good Y. And the decline in the purchase of good Y is from OM to ON. With fall in price of good X, now more of good X is purchased, and hence the budget line will swivel towards its right. The increase in the purchase of good X is from OR to OK. Similarly, if there is fall in the price of good Y, the budget line would swivel towards its right, representing an increase in the purchase of good Y from OM to OD. Now have a look at this question. 4 options are given for a statement. You need to pick up one correct option. The statement is: increase in income of the consumer imply option A, the slope of the budget line changes; B, the consumer can buy more quantity of both the goods; C, the consumer will save more and spend the amount as if there is no increase in income; or D, the consumer has no budget constraints. Please check your answer. With increase in the income of the consumer, now the consumer can buy more quantity of both the goods. So option B is correct. Now have a look at this question. 4 options are given for a statement. You need to pick up the correct one. The statement is: increase in the price of good X means option A, the consumer will reallocate his income in favor of good X; B, the slope of the budget line remains constant; C, the consumer will buy same quantity of Y and less of X; and D, the budget line will shift parallel to its left. Please check your answer. With increase in the price of good X, now the consumer will buy same quantity of Y but less quantity of good X. So option C is correct. I hope you have understood the reasons for having a shift in the budget line. Also, a swivel in the budget line must also be clear to you. So with this, the session comes to an end. The next session focuses on consumers' preferences. Till then, keep reading, keep learning, and keep practicing.